The most dangerous thing in the ancient world wasn't a sword. It wasn't a wild animal. It wasn't a flood or a famine. It was something smaller than your fingernail. And it lived inside your mouth. Right now, as you watch this, there are millions of bacteria living in the spaces between your teeth. They eat what you eat, they breed while you sleep, and when they digest, they release acid. Quietly. That acid eats through the hardest material your body ever makes. And you feel nothing. Not at first. Day 1. A faint ache. Easy to ignore. You've had worse. Day 3. It is there when you wake up. Sharp. Constant. Like something pressing from the inside out. Day 7. Your face has started to swell. The pain is no longer just in your tooth. It is in your jaw, behind your eye, down your neck. And it does not stop. You are not weak. You have survived hunger, cold, and grief, and worse. But this has no mercy. In the world we are about to step into, there is no doctor for this, no pharmacy, no numbing injection. No one around you even knows what bacteria is. There is only the pain. And a small group of people standing around you who have exactly one solution. It will make you scream, but it will work. And the fact that it worked is one of the most remarkable things humans ever quietly figured out. To understand what they did, you first need to understand why this was so dangerous. A toothache left long enough doesn't stay in your tooth. It spreads. The bacteria eating your tooth creates a pocket of infection at the root. That infection pushes into the jaw. From the jaw, it enters the blood. And once it is in the blood, it can reach the brain. People died from toothaches. Not rarely, regularly. Historians have found bodies buried across every continent. Skulls with swollen jaws, bones destroyed by infections that started from a single rotting tooth. In a world without antibiotics, without painkillers, without any idea what bacteria even is, a small rotting tooth was one of the most dangerous things that could happen to you. It didn't care how strong you were, so what did they do? They found solutions. Dark ones. For most of human history, it was not that simple. An untreated infection swells the face, closes the airway, moves through the blood. There are written records from medieval times, letters describing faces so swollen that rulers could not speak. Leaders who vanished from court for weeks, not because of war or politics, but because of their jaw. Historians believe some of the most powerful people who ever lived were brought down by a single infected tooth. The tooth is small. The consequences were never small. And here is what most people don't know. This was not a problem that belonged to one era. Every civilization that has ever existed dealt with this. Hunters in caves, farmers in cities, kings on thrones. All of them suffered. All of them searched for a way out. Because the bacteria in our mouths doesn't care what century it is. It has been living inside human mouths for hundreds of thousands of years, thriving, surviving every era of human history. And for hundreds of thousands of years, humans fought back. In every corner of the world, with whatever they had. The ancient Egyptians wrote about toothaches in one of the oldest medical texts ever found, a document called the Ebers Papyrus, written over 3,500 years ago. Their solution was a paste made from honey, cumin, and onion, packed directly into the rotting tooth. It didn't cure it, but it eased the pain and bought time. In ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, people believed a tiny worm lived inside the tooth, eating through it from the inside out. Their cure was prayers and chants, spoken directly into the aching jaw. The Romans were more physical. They had iron hooks and iron clamps, built specifically to grip a tooth and pull it out. No numbing, no warning, you were held down. In ancient China, doctors found that pressing thin needles into certain points along the jaw could block the pain signal. 4,000 years ago. In ancient India, medical texts described swishing oil through the teeth for 20 minutes to draw out infection. Different continents, different languages, different gods, all reaching the same desperate conclusion. This pain is real, and we will do anything to stop it. But the most extreme solution of all was surgery. 14,000 years ago, in what is now Italy, A man sat perfectly still while someone scraped the rotting tissue from inside his tooth, using a sharpened piece of flint. No numbing, no explanation. Just don't move. Scientists at the University of Bologna examined this tooth and found careful, deliberate marks on the surface, made by someone who had clearly done this before. This was not desperation. This was skill. 5,000 years later, 9,000 years ago in what is now Pakistan, someone had invented something worse. A bow drill. A spinning stone tip, just a few millimeters wide, pressed directly into a living tooth and rotated until it bored a hole straight through it. At least 9 people at a single burial site had this done to them. 9. This was not one desperate act. This was a system. Repeated again and again because it worked. And after the drilling, the hole needed to be sealed. A 6,500-year-old jaw found in Slovenia still had its filling intact when scientists opened it. Beeswax, soft when warm, solid at body temperature. It worked. These people, without schools, without books, without modern science, figured out what dentistry was. They just had to survive the process of learning it. And when you look at where we are today, you realize how little has actually changed. 92% of American adults have had at least one cavity. The same bacteria, the same acid, the same damage. The tools changed, the problem didn't. We have electric toothbrushes, fluoride, laser treatments, and x-rays that see straight through bone. And we still lose. The Mesopotamians blamed a worm. We blame sugar. Both answers are a little bit right. Both are incomplete. Because the truth is simpler and harder to accept than either one. Tooth decay is the price of having a mouth. It always has been. For every human being. In every era. On every continent. The only thing that ever changed is what people were willing to do about it. A man 9,000 years ago sat perfectly still while someone drilled into his living tooth with a spinning stone. No numbing, no choice. You sit in a padded chair with your jaw completely numb, and you still find reasons not to go. Because you inherited this fight. Every person who has ever lived has felt what you feel when you think about that dentist appointment. The dread, the delay, the quiet hope that maybe it will go away on its own. It never goes away on its own. For 14,000 years, human beings sat still for something they feared, because the alternative was dying. They had sharpened flint. They had beeswax. They had prayers spoken into a jaw that would not stop hurting. You have anesthesia, antibiotics, a trained professional, and a chair that reclines. The only thing standing between you and them is whether you make the appointment.